અમારે ગુજરાતીમાં કહેતે કે પગ પોળા એટલા જ કરવા કે પડી ના જવાય.
Yeah. How did you really manage? Because doctors find it so challenging while scaling up, even when they're going from 30 to 200.
You should do what you do the best. You should not do somebody's work. Second thing is you get right people for right kind of work, and that is called business management.
I saw those videos which have gone viral of Shri Amit Shah ji himself coming and doing the opening of this fantastic social project that you have planned out for India, which is going to be a landmark, hopefully, the Bone Bank. So when you have these anecdotes with these people?
First of all, let me tell you that whenever I am handling VIP or VVIP or operating, I look at knee and not the face.
What did you feel when you met Modi ji?
Modi ji visited our hospital 2 to 3 times to see some patients. I went to meet him once to his office, and I will tell you that experience. My fundamental rule is, if you want to do something, do it now. Nothing tomorrow, nothing later on. Do it now. And if you calculate India's population like US, who can afford up to middle class. We are not talking about rest of the population. And if you put figure of 15 times more, we are talking in millions. Now, if I want to fulfill my dreams with that growth, I need more money, so I should go to IPO.
If a young doctor suddenly realizes that I want to be Dr. Vikram Shah, I want to be that person which he is today, and I want to have a large group of hospitals like Shalby, what is the kind of money he'll need?
If today
This is Nehal Mota, co-founder of Finovate, and we are back with yet another episode of Medical Monarchs. Through this series of Medical Monarchs, our mission is to bring out stories of doctors who've not only excelled as doctors, but also scaled their entrepreneurial ventures to great heights. We at Finovate work with busy and successful doctors, and we believe that when we handle doctors' finances in a way that they can save 10 hours a month, they can actually invest that 10 hours to save 10 lives. And with this mission, I'm joined by Dr. Mukesh Gupta, the top gynecologist from Mumbai, and together we'll be hosting today's Medical Monarchs episode. All over to you, Dr. Mukesh.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mukesh Gupta, obstetrician gynecologist from Lenest Malad, Mumbai. And it is my pleasure to have this fantastic session and this journey with Nehal. And we have been learning over the past few episodes how we learn from the legends, the monarchs in the medical field, who not only excelled in their academic practice, but also in the way they have handled their hospital and business ventures. I hope that today from Ahmedabad, we learn a lot from this doyen of a person, a legend of a person, the orthopedic surgeon, none other than Dr. Vikram Shah.
first of all, I'm thankful to all of you to come to all the way to Ahmedabad to film this. Thank you very much.
So, Dr. Vikram, wish you a very good morning, and we'll just reflect back in your childhood. And when was that moment where you decided that you want to be a doctor, and how have been your growing up years?
When you are a kid in India, in those times, actually, we did not know what we wanted to do. Hailing from middle class, the only way people used to think about is either you become engineer or doctor. So that is how I was thinking and studying.
So, what this whole, because I read somewhere that you were also keen on getting into engineering. So, how did this shift from engineering to medicine happen?
I passed 12th exam with very good marks, but electronics and instrumentation seats were only 2. So it got filled up, and then I ended up in medical because I did not want to do civil engineering or mechanical engineering. So that's how by fluke I came to medical. Having said this, my maternal uncle, my nanaji, everybody were doctors. So whole family was of doctors and engineers. So I did not have choice either to become doctor or become engineer.
So that really inspired you to get into medicine. What was that moment where you choose orthopedics is your calling and you want to really, get deep into it and scale to the level which you have today. So, what triggered choosing orthopedics?
See, by heart and mind, I was always an engineer because that is what I wanted to do. And orthopedics is pure engineering.
A lot of techniques
So
and
that
techniques.
was always, that was always love for engineering was always there. Number two, I was looking for becoming a radiologist, but family did not have enough money to come up with MRI and CT scan and the center. So I was told that choose some line where you don't have to invest much money. Luckily, I was able to go out and make money for myself in UK and USA before returning. 4 years I made good money so that I can come and invest in my dream.
So, Dr. Vikram, what was the reason to get into joint replacement, particularly in the orthopedics?
Well, when we were studying in orthopedics, we were second year resident. I visited my senior registrar's room, and we had 4 volumes of Campbell, each 1200 pages. The second volume was totally white, unread, and that was containing arthroscopy and joint replacement. So nobody was doing it, nobody was asking in exam. So I told him that why we are not reading it. He told me that we don't need to because we are not asked in exam. But that I said, well, exam is one thing, but whole lifetime we don't want to do this. Why we don't want to learn this? And I had a grandmother in my home with osteoarthritis, not able to walk, and every orthopedic surgeon was giving tablets to her that there is nothing else we can do. So I was wondering all the time that there are people who are suffering and we don't want to operate because our teachers are saying so. It never went to my mind. And then I thought that I will learn these and come back. So when I sat in the plane, Delta Airlines, to go to UK, I decided at that time that I will come back and do these only.
Oh, so,
This is inspiring.
yes, this is inspiring that when nobody was really thinking about it, even there were no marks to study that. That's where you really thought.
So I think this tells us the red ocean and the blue ocean strategy. He entered into a place which was actually considered as absolutely a no man's land, and you made it your own, and you are ruling it. That's an interesting.
Yes, exactly.
But that brings us to a very vital question. You know, as doctor, when we start our career, we are all exposed to this concept of brain drain. So why did such an amazing brain did not leave India and stick there and look at the greener pastures? And what made you come back to India?
Well, the most important part was I was always happy. My wife and family were more happier than me in those countries because you have Saturday, Sunday holiday and you have a good family time. Having said this, when I was asked by the people who gave me partnership that why you don't want to stay with us, we are giving you partnership, you are not going to do the job here. I told them that it's a well functioning, fantastic healthcare system. I will be either a wheel or a nut or a bolt. I will not be able to contribute anything. So I want to do something where when I hang my shoes at 75, I should feel great about myself that I did something in my life.
Brilliant. And that's a thought to sit back and listen for all those people who are looking at this. This is amazing. I think I've heard you saying this statement: never accept status quo and challenge the system and make it better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how did you come back to India and what was the story there? How did you start off?
Well, I was for 3 years in UK and about a year and a half in US. In US, I was in Birmingham, Alabama, and in Beth Israel North in Manhattan. And then I was offered partnership, but I never wanted to stay back, and then decided to come back to India. Started small, decent nursing home. The reason being, no corporate hospital or no trust hospital was ever interested in anything other than cardiology.
Oh my God.
So they never wanted to invest a single penny in instrument in orthopedics. So I had to come up with my small decent setup where I created the first class 100 OT of India. First laminar airflow with 200 air changes in an hour and body exhaust suit. That was happened first time in India before Mumbai, Chennai or Delhi did.
For people who don't understand, this bodysuit was what you used to wear in COVID times when the problem was high. And this was long back envisioned to cut down on the risk of infection inside the operation theatre. So Mumbai, or rather Ahmedabad, was not ready for you at that time.
Well, Ahmedabad was not at all ready. I still remember discreetly that I was waiting for my patient, and instead of reading comics, I was reading my journals because I always thought that receptionist sitting outside will know what I am reading.
Brilliant.
She will talk to everybody that our doctor is reading newspapers, sitting doing nothing. So you have to be careful about what you do, and everybody is watching you.
Okay, this is another take home message that people are not just listening to you, they're also watching you. So, whatever you do, whether it is in your off time or whether it is on your social media or whether it is on your consulting or your workplace, it is being watched. So, be watchful. That's a good tip that we get, sir.
When you were beginning this whole entrepreneurial journey about 3 decades back, you decided to prioritize your work in your hospital. We heard that for a very long period of time you were living on rent and living frugally, but putting most of your earnings in first building your hospital and scaling your hospital, and the house and everything came much later. So, would you want to just elaborate on that journey?
Absolutely. First of all, a person can see what he has seen, and anything beyond we call it a vision. So my teacher, Dr. Dinubai Patel, at the end of his career, he had a 25-bedded nursing home, and he started with one-bedded nursing home and changed 7 hospitals during his lifetime. So that's what I saw. So I thought if I can have a hospital which can be expanded to 25, 30 beds, it is good enough for me and my life will be well spent. So I bought a piece of land and started building up a 6-bed hospital where it could be expanded to 25, 30 beds in the coming time. So I don't have to change the hospital. That is what my vision or my thinking was, because that is what all I saw.
Right.
And that era before 2000 was an era of nursing homes.
Right.
Particularly in city like Ahmedabad, nobody thought about having corporate hospitals. Anyway, then once I made 6 beds and started staying on second floor, then built the third floor, started staying on third floor. Then again it was small, so went on rented accommodation, and I made it 25, 30 beds by 2000. In 6 years, the hospital was small and there was no space for me to put my patients. And then I started building the home, because then I had enough money to make my home. When it comes to priority, I always saw that my friends and colleagues always invested first in home, then in beautiful car,
Yeah.
and then some shares and stocks, and then spend time in clubs.
You've charted the journey of an average doctor.
Yeah, but see, I wanted to make my workplace as better as what we had it in Western world. So I never wanted that I work at a second class place and give treatment to my patient in a second class place.
That's a fantastic line. This is a beautiful thought that instead of spending on self, if we start looking at how to make it better for our patients, by default in the journey of life, you will get enough for yourself.
Exactly. And also, one very big financial wisdom was that prioritize your workplace, because that is generating the revenue and the funds for further growth. And home can be like a second priority, which he very rightly said, that once the doctor starts scaling up the ladder, the first thing where he wants to invest is a big house. So even not having that kind of tempt to not build a very big house but build a bigger hospital, that itself really was very different in that time, and that's something which I think even is relevant today, that invest first in your workplace and probably second in the house. And I'm very sure, having handled Dr. Mukesh's finances, I can say that he's also one of the persons where he first prioritizes workplace for many, many years, and house came much later.
I was told that you actually, you had in one of the sessions that you actually hedged in yourself and you decided to take a loan, and you picked up a loan which was much bigger than all your savings, and you put all your savings for the start of the hospital. So people are very scared. We doctors many times are very scared to take that risky step. So was it a little risk for you to put all your savings and take also a loan to start that startup?
Well, that is not true there. When I came up with the startup, I did not take much of a loan.
Okay.
I just put my savings and took some loan and took equipment from equipment dealers on postpaid checks.
Okay.
So I did not take loan. At that time, I gave them checks 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, and they gave me.
Well, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think, that's something which a lot of doctors should learn.
That is how I did my first nursing home.
Okay.
And I did not have elevator also in a 4-story building because I did not have money for it.
Oh my good Lord.
So that I bought it after 3 years. So I staged it. I did not.
So you planned it.
અમારે ગુજરાતીમાં કહેતે કે પગ પોળા એટલા જ કરવા કે પડી ના જવાય.
Yeah.
I was very clear that I will not make debt coming to my neck. So that was during my first.
So I heard in one of the stories that you had actually finished up your loan in 2 years instead of 7.
Yeah, that is when I came up with a first corporate hospital.
Achha,
That
it was
was
a
in
corporate
2007. So in 2005, I bought a land, and we bought it in a auction, and we paid little more, and my entire family was cursing me for that. 3 crore rupees land you have bought in 2005, and the entire saving has gone in that. So are you going to go and sleep there in the land? How you are going to operate, because you don't have money? But by then my practice was very big. So
You knew your
So I told my family members that I will make my hospital, which is there opposite Karnavati Club, which you be able to see while going back.
Yes.
It is 13 floors.
Yes.
So I said I will make it while I am making money and working hard, because it is going to take 2 years to come up. So every month I will pay up the bills and I will make it. And then I made it from my running income. And for equipments I took a loan.
So I stand corrected.
Yeah.
It was not a risk. So it was not a risk-taking behavior. Now that is what I wanted.
It is actually very planned and calculated.
You can say it's a calculated risk by knowing your numbers. So know your numbers, know how you're going on. And I think even till this date, Shalby Hospital is one of the highest, EBITDA improving hospital or a chain when you look at the stock market. And if you look at the PE ratios, it is still doing much greater than an average place.
Valuations, P, everything doing very good.
So I think he is a person who knows his numbers and he knows exactly what he is doing. And it is not actually a risk-taking behavior.
So I think for all the doctors who are listening, that inflection point, all of us have an inflection point in our journey. And what he rightly said, that from that 6-bedded hospital to make that switch to 30, and then from 30 to 100 beds, he bought that land. He put all his savings in getting that land. The construction of the hospital was funded by the practice, which was very roaring at that time. And only when he leveraged or he borrowed was the equipments. And, he had a 7-year loan, which he managed to pay in less than 2 years. So I think in today's startup world and all, people talk about burning money. They talk about raising capital too early on. So I think from his journey, we really need to learn that frugality and being focused on cash flow is so important, that you're not too leveraged or not too deep into EMIs. And you're generating that cash flow which will self-fund your growth. So that was one of the valuable lessons which a lot of doctors starting should be like learning from what his journey has been in terms of managing the finances so well.
So I want to ask you this question now, sir. So when you went ahead and created that corporate setup, okay. So I have heard a lot of people who do the maths of profits, and do that. But what we are seeing more is that you were looking at improving the facility and the services. So what was the thought behind that?
In a service industry, and more so particular in healthcare, if you give a good service and great results, people want to pay you premium. And unless you are paid premium, you don't make money.
That's a brilliant line. Yeah. So I think we need to go back to this when you started the hospital. So I have heard you speaking about, unlike the West, which there is the rich and the poor. We have the whole range. I'll quote you from below poverty line to stinkingly rich, a large spectrum. In medical in management parlance, we talk about customer segmentation. Can you throw some light on that concept which you keep talking about?
Well, I always tell my friends that we, India, is several times more than entire Europe put together.
Yes.
And Europe or America has two classes, working class and rich class. But we have 25 classes because in Ahmedabad to Mumbai you have five type of trains and each having five classes. So there are 25 fares and every class goes full. No class is empty. So we have lot many people with lot many different aspiration, and you need to fulfill aspiration of people so as to do business with them.
So there's another aspect which I came across in Shalby Group of Hospitals is that you're also trying to see to it that the lowest cadre also, whether it is the governmental schemes or anything, are also catered to and taken care of.
Yeah, it's very important. See, healthcare is not all about making money. This is the only line in the entire world where you are able to do charity simultaneously doing business.
Yes.
There is no, see, every other business you have to go and do charity somewhere else. This is the only place where you are able to do charity as well as business together. So why not to do it? So we do Ayushman also. We run our own, my father's name trust, ICSA Charitable Trust. So we do lot of charity, and ultimately those patients send you more patient and they make you more popular. So ultimately it is the brand which makes you money.
I think he's given a key message here. The key message is be passion driven, not profit driven. If you are passion driven, by default you'll do the right thing, and you have enough opportunity to do the right and ethical thing in your practice. I think this brings us to the human component. I think we should move to the
So,
organizational culture.
so this whole thing from say 6 7 beds to 30, then scaling up to about 100 200 beds, and now with more than 12 14 hospitals, franchises, and all. So, what triggered the whole growth thing for you? Because a lot of times when doctors are at a 30-bed setup, they are making a lot of money for themselves, and then they are in a comfort zone. Okay, I'm making a couple of crores a year and everything is very set. So why really take so much stress into getting into such kind of a scale? So what was like that thought for you?
It was when I made my first corporate hospital, which was 200 beds. It came up in 2007. I made it large to hedge my work because then I was big enough having lot many staff, lot many patients, lot many doctors. And if I want to go on holidays or if I'm not well, who will run the hospital? Who will pay the bill? So I made it multi-speciality to hedge my work. And it was not as a business. To be honest with you guys, it was never thought about business at all. I did it to hedge my business, my health, my work. And healthcare was by accident in a sweet spot at that time. And in 2 years, I was able to pay my entire loan because it started running very well because people were waiting for such good hospital to come up. So I thought that it's a great thing. It has worked very well. And at the same time, my son was in ninth standard, and we were just talking one of the days that what do you want to do in life? So usually all doctors' kids are doctors. So I just asked him, what do you want to do? He told me that I will be doing anything other than being doctor. So I said, fine. Then I can have so many kids. I can teach so many people. Then I will not be a selfish man. So then I will work with my doctors to give something to them, because if your son or daughter is doctor and in the same line, then you are selfish so as to give it to him only.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I have a son, and I have learned a lesson that even if you have a son who is, my son is a doctor, so I still have to learn this that you cannot be selfish.
No, see, it stops your growth. If you want to give something to only one person, it stops your growth. If you give it to so many, it's like a tree having only one branch going up and having so many branches, becoming a banyan tree.
Brilliant, brilliant.
So, when that shift was happening between 6 to 30 and 30 to 200, that corporate setup. So, that comes with a lot of challenges in terms of how do you get good doctors first to continue working with you. Then, there are a lot of management challenges when you are scaling up, like HR comes into the picture, uh, you know, the organization culture, and many things. So, a lot of things have to fall in place to really be able to scale. So, how did you manage, and what kind of systems and processes did you put in place to be able to handle this scale from 30 to 200 and make this whole setup a corporate?
First of all, I must tell you that I never enjoyed management because I always found it monotonous because you are doing same thing every day. So I don't get into day-to-day management, and I never wanted to, because as I earlier said that I don't like status quo, doing same meetings, asking same thing again and again. You can hire people for that. Why you should do it? So for management, I always hired people, but when you are a small, you don't get right people quickly because they
Yes.
don't see future with you. So they don't want to spoil their CV. They want to work with larger organizations. So that was a very big challenge. So what I did at that time, rather than getting those big names from big hospitals or big businesses, I took up youngsters from different field, service industry, and then trained them. And when I did that, I was very happy because once somebody is there from beginning, they are able to understand you fully and able to deliver what you want.
That's an amazing HR principle that create the talent pool that you desire and you have a longevity to it. And the attrition rate, which is the biggest challenge for healthcare, is actually an amazing, it's an amazing way to solve this problem. It's an amazing thought. But this is a big challenge for most of us who start up. And then we think that if we train people, they're going to be with us and then they're going to leave us any which ways and goes. So not only did you, when you choose the people and the right talent, but how did you plan to retain them? What were the the business tools that were used?
See, there are no tools. Actually, you share your happiness and your profit with them. So, all doctors, even nurses are on incentives.
Oh wow,
So, beyond pay, with how many surgeries they do, they are given incentives. Medical officers are on incentives. So, they are happy to do more work. They are not looking at their watch.
I think what you very rightly brought up is having the skin in the game. Let every person have the skin in the game, and that is what will motivate them. And what you rightly said, that you always have to look at how will they grow. Once they grow, they will
organization
yeah,
growth.
yeah, organization grows and they'll stick with you for a very long time.
They will also own the organization.
Right.
That's the right word.
Yes. Yeah, they will own the organization.
correct me if I'm wrong, that human beings are the only species who can smile and laugh and
Of
socialize
course,
together.
I always say this that human being is the only animal in the world who can laugh. So don't stop laughing and smiling because this is the virtue given by God to us. And smiling is a gesture of a service. A service given without smile is not service.
Wow.
And in a service industry, it is very important that it is given with smile. And when you talk about a culture, organizational culture or a business culture, we don't have a business culture or an organizational culture. Our culture is service to the patient. So it be medical service, so it be food, so it be a glass of water.
So I think organization cultures are built around the key thing, which is your customers. In your case, it is the patients. That how what experience did you give to the patient, not just medically, but also that smaller aspects. And when you focus on that, automatically an organization culture became to keep patient first and everything around, revolving around the patient's well-being and giving an amazing experience to the patient.
I think what Vikram sir is saying is that these labels and terminologies don't matter. You have to do the right job and you have to do the right thing. And then by default, it becomes the right culture or whatever way you want to put it. Am I right in saying that's a
Absolutely.
and I think all through the journey we are seeing this again and again and again that there is no better learning management school than actually having your focus on your passion on doing the right thing in the journey of life and everything becomes a management principle happening right, isn't it?
Yes. So, last time when I had met you, you had discussed about a trust which you created for the benefit of all doctors, staff, and all. And that was something way ahead of its time, I guess about 20 years back, or something you had already envisioned that you want them to become a part of, like you said, profits. So, can you elaborate a little bit that how did it come to your mind that I should be creating a trust, which is now very popular as ESOPs with a lot of startups or corporates?
Well, I'm a keen observant of stock market and I read a lot, I hear a lot, and one of the time I read about Infosys created employees trust and about details. So the thought came to my mind that why should not I do it for my doctors? Because people who are working with me, when I will go public, I will be at one level, but what about them? So I should be giving shares yearly to them so that my happiness or my success is given to them and they are able to part of whole thing, whole journey by having those shares. So I created Shalby Medico Trust, and with that Shalby Medico Trust, I am able to give because you have to do it before public issue,
Yes.
Yes.
long before public issue, so that I can continue doing it for long time to come.
That is a brilliant thought. How early did you take professional advice and help from professional financial experts to take care of these things? Because as a doctor, we're not taught this. Not everybody can come up with these kind of ideas and implementations. Maybe you think of it, but to implement these ideas, sometimes we have to actually have the experts. How early did you choose to have a financial expert in your team?
Well, I always had chartered accountants working with me from beginning, 1994. Having said this, when you are junior, when you are a small enterprise, you don't have right kind of people. So you have to talk to financial advisors too often because you are not able to hire them permanently, that level people.
Yes.
So I had been talking to different level people in different forums at a different time and keep collecting data as required and use it as required.
Okay, that's such a brilliant thought. So, see, whether you afford it or not, whether you can at that time manage it or not, you need to keep your eyes and ears open, and you need to keep networking and meeting the right people and learning the right tricks. And whenever it is a chance, it can be done. So, I think because it's not about just knowing it, but the implementation is also a big task.
No, implementation is not a difficult task because as you grow, you have right kind of people around you to get things done. So implementation is not difficult because then you hire right agency to give you advice and do the paperwork. So that's not a problem. And you do as things required. You don't do it beforehand when your hands are full with other smaller things. You don't do big things.
Oh, that's a golden tip. So I think we need to do things at the right time, and God has been very kind to you, and kind of getting the things done at the right time.
So, Dr. Shah, in 2008, you performed more than 3,000 surgeries in a single center, and that's a world record. That requires a lot of focus and dedication. So, what message would you want to give to young doctors who want to follow your footsteps?
First of all, it was a world record of 2008. Now we do 7 to 8,000 per year.
Oh,
Last year we did 6,800 in entire year under my name. So we do good numbers, and total at a group level with my colleagues across Jaipur, Mohali, Delhi, everywhere, we do 15,000 per year. That is highest in the world again by any hospital group also.
oh, 15,000 surgeries a year.
So my question to you is that how do you maintain the technical standards or the infection control standards, or how do you manage the supply chain of the equipments and the gadgets and the material? How do you manage it, sir?
All of the hospitals, all of the surgeons are one or the other time trained by us only. So they do same thing again and again. See, architects have to come up with new drawing every time. We have to do same thing again and again in a better and better way.
Operational efficiency. That's called as operational efficiency improve. But then, what about the infection control standards, sir?
They are very stringent. Actually, I was aware about this in 94 when I came back and started with body exhaust suit and class 100 OT with vertical laminar airflow. So all our hospitals have same systems, better improvised over the 30 years, and very stringent protocol from pre-operative bathing with cetrimide soap and everything. So patient is given bath 2 times with chemical before patient taken to theater. Forget about you getting ready because patient's skin is also harboring number of bacteria. So we prepare patient also equally well. We also prepare equally well. Our ORR are also equally well prepared.
And what about the technology upgradement? So, if I have to ask you this question, when you started off in the 90s to now, when you're in 2025, how the technology has changed?
Everything has changed, but it changes so slowly that you don't realize that it has changed. But if you see what we used to do before 30 years and now, it is totally different. So even I encourage my surgeons working at Jaipur or Jabalpur or Goa to come here and see every 6 months that what new things we have adapted, because we keep on adapting new things.
So there's a management called benchmarking. So you keep on improving and changing the techniques and the methodology and doing that.
Absolutely, every time. So now we do knee replacement in 15 minutes, which we used to take 2 to 3 hours before 30 years.
Can you tell us about the zero technique in total knee replacement and how it has changed the patient outcomes?
See, zero technique is all about approaching zero. Like incision, we used to put 8-inch incision, which has come to 4 inches now. Then cutting the tissues, we now cut minimum tissues. So pain is near zero. Patient is so comfortable post-operatively. The cutting of tissue is also done in such a way that bleeding is less. Surgery also is finished in no time, means 10 to 15 minutes, cutting is over, then only cementing of implant is happening. So overall, we call it zero technique because everything approaches zero. Even instrumentation also, lot of instruments we don't use because we have smoothened our procedure in such a way in hip and knee both. And we named it zero technique and got it trademarked also.
Wow.
This brings us, you have a lot of patents to your side. So how do you think? What is the my thought behind this? Sequential uh, innovation or invention, or is it brand differentiation, as you like to say? What is the
This is a part of life. It's something like when you eat, you have a sweet dish at the last. Same thing when you do good work, you have to publish it, you have to get it patented, you have to get a trademark. So it is like a sweet dish over your food.
Right.
interesting?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you've also developed the OS needle to improve, surgical efficiency. So can you elaborate about that?
Well, OS needle, when we developed it with multinational company, orthopedic surgeons had to give a drill hole into the bone to attach the soft tissue, and then it was very difficult to, in a round bone, you put one hole here, other hole here, and then negotiate the needle. It will not come out from other side. It was a struggle. So I designed a needle in such a way that you don't have to drill it at all. That needle is so strong and so good that it itself can go through the bone. So it take away a lot of effort from orthopedic surgeons. So mainly orthopedic surgeons use it.
So,
Necessity is the
yeah.
mother of invention.
Yeah. And something what he did is now helpful to all the orthopedic.
So can you understand this? What is happening, Nehal? So at one end, we are looking at zero technique, at how we can bring down and cut down on the pain and do all this. And at the same time, how we improve the efficiency of what we are doing. So one end there is the systems and processes of efficiency, and other end there is actually the efficacy, the outcome that the patient has to feel good, the patient centricity. That is another list of management principles we learn from this conversation.
So, in your whole journey of scale up, you really focused a lot on medical tourism and really promoted medical tourism. So, anything you want to share about uh, how did this whole thing come to your mind and how you've managed to really scale this?
I call medical tourism in two parts. One is local Indian and people coming from foreign countries. Mostly you get patients locally or within 200 kilometers. But because of the good work we were doing, people started coming from Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, Central India, Far East, Guwahati, and Manipur and Imphal. So those patients were complaining that we are coming for surgery all the way here and then there is nobody to do follow up. We started our outpatient clinics there just to service them. So we have now 50 outpatient clinics all over India. So more patients started coming in and we became national brand. So it helped us in that way. Actually, we wanted to service our own patient, but that is bringing more patient to us because those services which we are giving are not being given in a right way in those places. So they are actually looking out. And when they are looking out and we are available there locally, they are happy to come to us. Same thing happened in medical tourism. Gujaratis are everywhere in the world. Take any country of Africa, take any country of Europe, USA, Canada. So Gujaratis started coming in to get operated because their relatives were operated by us. Gujaratis, Sindhis, Marwadis, and Punjabis. These four communities are business community, and they travel for medical treatment any distance. This is my learning of last 30 years practice. And we established OPD in Nairobi, we established camp in Kampala, in Mombasa, in everywhere in Africa, Middle East also. And that is how we started getting more and more patient. Now people have termed it medical tourism. But we needed to service our own patient and that worked that way.
So, I think that whole camps which you set up, not just in Ahmedabad but across the globe, really helped you to scale the whole medical tourism and get a lot of NRI patients.
NRI and then local also. Now we get Britishers also, Canadians also, Americans also. We get local Africans also. And it is a myth amongst literate people in India that people come here for medical treatment because it is cheap, which is in way it is myth, not true. People do come to India because it is cheap, yes, but number of people we operate are declined surgeries in London or Chicago, and they are told that you go to Shalby or you go to India, and that is how, like defense secretary of Kenya or vice president of Uganda or finance minister of Tanzania, people of that level, they do come for surgeries here, and they don't come because it is cheap.
I think it's a very proud moment
Yeah,
for us in India
exactly.
that people choose us over the Western countries and many other developed nations because not for. I think that is something we need to hit in our brain. It is not just for the pricing. So it's not the
Yes.
pricing strategy, but it is the efficiency and the expertise for which we will get people coming to us.
Yeah, I think the reputation which you have managed to create and Shalby has managed to create, that what the West can't treat, you come here and you will get treated. So that's like at a global level, really creating a great reputation. And when you're doing this for yourself and Shalby, it's also giving a lot of reputation to all doctors in India.
Yeah, the brand
See, it's,
India
yeah, the
is
brand
it is
India
not just
is,
it's not
yes,
just brand Vikram Shah or brand Shalby. It's the brand India which
India.
is actually promoted across the world. That's a very interesting way to look at it, and actually, it's a very proud thing to happen. Yeah, that's great. So there's another aspect to this when you're doing these outreach. So this concept of reaching out to the last mile and actually not just giving them post surgery. So this is during, before and after. It's not just during the surgery that we have to show efficiency. It is also before and after. So whether you are able to reach out to them where they need the help from you, or whether you are able to help them and guide them and give services to them even when they are now going back home after the surgery. And it also gives us the thought that probably that is one of the reasons why you started the vertical of home care.
Absolutely. I don't like to be actually transactional to the patient. See, most of the time, everybody and anybody is transactional with customer. I don't like that way. I like to see to it that they are totally fine before we leave them alone.
Yeah, I think very brilliant. It's the lifetime journey and not just being, transactional when it comes to the surgery, but how the patient is doing after the surgery and ensure like he getting the feeling that I'm being taken care of till I'm on my
There are
home.
two parts to it. One part is doctor feels that patient is all right, and the second part is when patient feels I am all right. So we leave it when patient
Patient
feels all right.
feels, yeah.
Empathy. We cannot forget the emotional intelligence, the pillar of emotional intelligence, the empathy, which is going to be actually going to give the patient experience. Okay, that's efficacy.
So in your journey, you bought a American company which was in implants. So what triggered that? Because I guess you're one of the first doctors in the country to make an overseas acquisition.
There are several reasons to it. First, with NPPA coming in, NPPA, National Pricing Power Authority, and the knee joint stand prices were fixed by government. Multinational companies were not interested in doing business in India because they have to sell it at a given price. So they stopped getting latest product because they are expensive and they don't want to sell it at a lower price. So our patients were kind of suffering that new and better things were not available to them. Secondly, multinational companies would not involve Indians as their innovators or part of their research programs because they will have Europeans and Americans only. Whatever amount of work you do, they don't look upon you at the same wavelength. So several reasons, even availability of the implants. They might tell you that these implant will be available next week, so keep surgery next week. So these sort of things, I thought that, and the thing you said earlier, supply chain. So I always wanted to control my supply chain. I don't want to be taken for a ride by anybody. That was the third reason. And when these companies are doing well, we will also do well because we have our in-house business of 15,000 joints. We are making you making money. Why should not make we make money?
I think one of the brilliant lessons of backward integration that instead of you, paying some vendor to get all that implants and he making money out of this, he backward integrated and bought an unit abroad where all the kind of equipments or anything which he needed in the surgery, he only manufactures it. And so the whole focus on EBITDA, all these small things really helps improve the EBITDA and helps you in this scale up journey because you are controlling everything end to end. So that was a wonderful lesson, one of the key lessons in management while you're scaling up.
So this brings us, when you're talking about EBITDA, this reminds me, one of the biggest fear at the same time, the biggest desire for a medical professional is to scale up from a small nursing home to a corporate sector and from corporate sector to an IPO. So can you elaborate that journey in your mind, how you went through that IPO journey?
First of all, when it comes to advice, I would say that same shoes doesn't fit every person. So, and I always did it in a way that I never overshoot anything. Maybe because of fear, at times I undershoot myself. But when it comes to IPO, I always wanted to grow because I knew that joint replacement is going to go over the roof. I will tell you the story behind it. 2004 Time magazine came up with the article of arthritis of the knee, how it is going to affect the people globally. And I am a good reader. I read various kind of things, and a person should have enough knowledge of things happening around him if he wants to be successful in what he is doing. And it said that Asians suffer 15 times more than Caucasians for knee arthritis. And if USA is doing 700,000 knees and 700,000 hips in a year, and if you calculate India's population like US, who can afford up to middle class, we are not talking about rest of the population. And if you put figure of 15 times more, we are talking in millions. So the year which I came in, India did 350 knee replacements. India last year did 250,000 knee replacement. And India will be doing in 10 years time more than 3 million joints. So that is a kind of growth we are going to see. Now, if I want to fulfill my dreams with that growth, I need more money, so I should go to IPO.
I think that's a brilliant thought. Now, sir, again, this journey from a brand differentiation to innovation to invention. What are your thoughts for these young doctors and young medical professionals? Where should we focus and how should we journey ourselves?
First of all, whatever you are doing, actually you do it because you have to do it or you love it and doing it. If you are loving it and doing it, you will always do better. If you are for money or for need of doing something, you are doing it, you will only do it for some time nicely, but you will not be able to do it forever. And you will never be able to innovate things within that area. See, in that area, when you want to innovate, you have to put your heart and mind both in. And if you are not able to put your heart and mind both in whatever you are doing, you are not able to innovate. And when you inventions happen once a while, inventions happen once a while, but innovation can happen daily.
Wow, nice, yes.
And use this innovation for brand differentiation is your own work. You apply your mind how you can use your innovation over somebody's invention to make your brand different than others.
I think this is brilliant. This is brilliant masterclass. Invention happen once in a while, innovation happen
Happens
daily.
every day.
Use your ability to find innovations in the inventions to make your brand differentiation. I think this is an amazing line which is going to be staying there for austerity from you, sir. Brilliant.
So, Dr. Vikram, when you have moved to the corporate setup and it was 200 beds, and you were directly there, present, seeing a lot of things, that's very different. But when you branched out into different hospitals, 12 hospitals, franchisees, acquiring a company, so many different things, you are physically not present everywhere. So, how did you really manage? Because doctors find it so challenging while scaling up, even when they're going from 30 to 200. They're so caught between how much time do I give to my practice, or how do I really look at the day to day operations, finance, marketing, HR, many things. So, how, when you went to multi locational, you would have faced a lot of challenges. So, how did you handle that?
First of all, you should do what you do the best. You should not do somebody's work. Most important part is that. And whatever you are today is made by your work. If you leave your work and do other thing, you are destroyed.
Right.
So you should not do somebody's work. Second thing is you get right people for right kind of work, and that is called business management. And what you are supposed to do is make policies and observe the policies are being followed or not. And that doesn't require more than half an hour a day.
This is a
Yeah.
brilliant thought actually. Don't do other people's job, and you have the right people to do the right job, and you need to just keep an audit and have a sharp eye. Half an hour a day, running such a multi-million-dollar conglomerate, and you're still so much passionate about the science and the academics. So I'm going to ask you this. One thing I heard from your team when I was having a chat with them, uh, that you have tremendous ability to switch off and switch on. At one moment you're talking about the intricacies and the complications and the difficulties of the surgery to your subordinates and colleagues, and at immediate moment there is a challenge which has come up which the management team comes and put across, and you're able to give that solution quickly. So a thought about that how do you manage the switch off and switch on?
That was not easy actually. That I learnt it before 15 years, and actually I worked for it. And today, when I go home, I switch off my mind and I leave all the problems of company at hospital. I sleep in 2 minutes. And when I come to hospital, I don't talk about house. So I tell my wife or my son that don't talk about house at the hospital working place, and don't get working place problem home. So that is very clear fundamentally that I switch off and switch on as required in any field. If I'm free, I will start reading something.
So, one question is that you have been so academically good. Even today, you spend most of your working hours in surgeries and your core specialization as a doctor. How did you learn about management, and what is your advice to young doctors who want to scale up like you, but they have this bent of mind that we are good surgeons or we are good doctors and we wish to focus on that? How can they learn management?
See, management is all about handling people, how human you are, how much you are able to or want to understand problem of person opposite to you. Management is all about that. There are thousands of pages written in given books, but you can't learn it by reading the books. By working with people, if you keep your mind and eyes open, you know what they need and what you are supposed to do to keep them in loop.
Any particular books which inspired you, or any particular people in this journey who were management gurus whom you followed and you felt that they inspired you?
I never followed people. I followed successes.
Okay.
I followed successes because people have pitfalls.
Right.
I have a pitfall, number of pitfalls, which I cannot see, but other people can see. But I go by success stories of different companies, different organizations, and I go by their failure also. Like books like How Mighty Failed or How to Grow a Great Organization. There are a lot of books I have read. I don't remember names because I'm continuously reading new things.
In this today's time, there is a lot of debate about work-life balance, and as doctors, it's too difficult to give time to work, family, fitness, and so many things. So, would you want to share your experience and how have you maintained this work-life balance?
See, work life balance, in my opinion, is a bullshit. If you want work life balance, then you are doing work which you don't like. It's very clear that you do something which is making you feel tired or frustrated. So you need balance, right? See, work life balance, see, it is, if India has to do great, we need to work hard. And if we start talking work life balance now, when we are not even on runway,
Yeah.
we cannot finish our runway and start flying even. We should not be talking about work life balance at all. People who have two hands, one brain and two legs, people in India should work. See, if I would not have worked, I would not have created 5,000 jobs.
Right.
I could have put my money into safe, left it for my son, but then it would be too selfish to think like that. So every person who has ability should be working hard for our country.
Right. I think one of brilliant messages to not only doctors, but a lot of young people that we in the phase what we are in the country right now, it requires a lot of sweat and a lot of hard work from a lot of us to really take our country to the next level. And so it's too early to talk about work-life balance.
I think this is something which we doctors, me as an obstetrician surgeon, as an orthopedic surgeon, we have learned it right from the beginning of our career. That 6 hours a day duty is not what is going to help us do and achieve what we are doing. And sometimes and it is not just the number of hours that we have logged in, because in that case he would have stayed back and become a partner in US or UK. But it is about the passion to do more than what you can just do it for yourself or your family, but for the nation at large and the community and the society at large, which is an inspiration. I think this is a very inspiring approach that you have said. This is brilliant. But how do you handle your family?
You don't have to handle your family. Your family handles you. So let them handle you.
So what is one key tricks and tips that you can give on time management? Because that is something which people say that you have mastered it in a very brilliant way. So how do you, because whether it is your workplace time management, whether it is your surgical OT list time management, whether it is being there at the right time at the right place, or taking care of your time spent with the family, how do you manage it, sir?
Well, I always tell this to everybody that time, 1 hour gone is gone. Your life is getting over daily, and every hour your life is getting over. So, if you want to do something, the time is now.
Now, yes.
So, my fundamental rule is if you want to do something, do it now. Nothing tomorrow, nothing later on. Do it now. And that's the only way it works with me. And by now, people know who are around me that, they make me comfortable. Otherwise, I make them uncomfortable.
So, while chatting with your team, they really said that for you, discipline is very key. And they feel that one of the reasons why you've reached where you are today is because of that discipline. So, how can doctors learn that kind of discipline? And do you really believe that discipline was one of the key parts to what success you are seeing today.
See, discipline is very important in any human being's life. If you take a dog who is indisciplined, you will not play with him. See, army, 1 million army of Iraq was defeated by American army of 50,000. Why? Because they had Russian equipments, they had tanks, they had MiGs, everything. Why they were defeated? Disciplined. American army was disciplined. Have you seen Lawrence of Arabia? The British colonel tells the king of Saudi Arabia that you don't need guns, you need discipline to win over Ottoman Empire. So anything and everything if you want to achieve in life, unless you are disciplined, you will never be able to achieve. Even if you achieve by fluke, you will not be able to retain.
Yeah, I think one of the brilliant thing that by fluke you can still achieve something, but to sustain that and grow that even further, discipline is a key.
Fluke is temporary, discipline is
It's
permanent.
permanent, yeah.
So there is another thing which is talked about is your ability to motivate your whole, not just the medical staff, but also the paramedical staff and the whole team, and creating a lot of opportunity for upskilling and skilling them and training them. So you're also not just, so we say that initially you achieved economies of scale where you increase the efficiency and the operational efficiency to improve the number of surgeries and the number of cases that can be done per day and the safety and the outcome. Then you also created an economies of scope where the Shalby brand was actually synonymous with not just orthopedic, but so many more services. So when we are doing that, you're also entering into multiple verticals like the home care and also now presently the bone bank, etc. So how do you focus on training the personnels and how do you decide on these verticals which are collateral verticals from the existing verticals?
First of all, what I do or what I have taught my HR is don't select person who needs to be motivated. We need self-motivated people. And you get 1 out of 10 who is self-motivated. And it's not easy to find them, but if you find them, then it's your duty to retain them.
This is brilliant. And what about the various verticals? How do you come up with those thought processes?
As per the need, just for need of my patient, fulfill need of my patient, and the business is created.
I think backward and vertical integration, that is the master stroke of the growth story. And how do you manage this EBITDA? How do you, I mean, I understand it, but how has this EBITDA been managed for such a long time at a sustained level, at such a good level as we look at the various competitors?
I was told by my teacher then that when you do a good work, money follows. You don't have to look at money. And again, brand differentiation. You make more money with brand differentiation, not only by service.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting
so
thing.
I think to have that sustained EBITDA, what we always say that focus on the core competency first and then the differentiation. I think
Brand
both are.
differential.
Why Colgate still makes good money even though they sell toothpaste? Because brand differentiation. What else they make?
Yes.
So that is what you learn from Colgate.
I think the brand differentiation and continuous benchmarking is the key to create the moat and delay the competitive convergence for people to catch up.
So while we were chatting the last time, you said that from the beginning you were very clear that you will file your income tax returns and you will grow your capital because that is very important for you to be able to achieve scale. So you want to reflect back that how were you so different and radical in your thinking at that time when a lot of times right now also people are earning X but filing a very very small return, and at times that comes in the way of the growth because they don't have capital or they can't leverage because of finance or the papers are not that strong.
I will tell you little history about this. When I was in 10th standard, I came across two papers of TISCO, Tata Iron and Steel Company Limited, which is Tata Steel today. And they were preference shares of my grandfather. and my father did not understand it. And there were letters coming from Tisco that you get it converted to 13.5% debentures, non-convertible. And it was lying in my home for last 70 years. So when I asked my father, he told me that you ask ex-uncle, he will tell you what to do with that. I don't know this. I felt very bad that how an engineer, my father was an engineer, how an engineer can be so illiterate about finance. He doesn't want to understand, he doesn't know about what his father left. So it actually went in my mind that I will understand this part more than anybody else. So
Financial
that is a
literacy.
story behind it. And then I was very keen on finance and accounts, like typical Gujarati Baniya, that I would understand this. I will not be doing anything on behest of anybody else. So I learnt over the time, and I learnt it in such a way that I came to know that if you have a cash, you buy either gold or land.
Right.
If you want to invest in stock or anything, you need capital. Now, if you want capital, you want to make money and pay tax, then only capital is created. And once one time tax is paid and you invest nicely, you don't have to pay tax. You are long term investor somewhere and you don't have to pay tax. If you sell, you have to pay tax, but you don't sell, you don't have to pay tax. Why one should shy out from paying tax once?
Yeah, I think this
And it
was
was a
very
good
much
take-home
needed.
message for a lot of people, not just doctors, but even in the other fields who do not understand the value of and the best part is the money that we're paying as taxes not is something which is going to be for nation building, and it is not something.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So there should not be a thought about going back on that. I think
No,
that's
and what he like rightly said that it's just the tax which you're paying once, but the benefits you're reaping for
all your
years
life.
to come, and really thinking that in that times when
And
things were
that
like
was decades
so
back.
different, decades back. So I think that's one of the very good practices which a lot of doctor has to learn from you is that if you have aspirations to grow, then how you are maintaining your papers and how well you're filing your returns. I think that is important. And like you rightly said, that uh, you had this keen interest in finance and you started really, taking it as a priority or investing your time to learn about finance. I think that is
Financial
also
literacy is a
financial
very
literacy is
important
also a very,
component.
very
Yeah,
important
it's a very
component.
important component
Yeah.
in the journey of life of a doctor or a medical professional. So, what is your advice if I have to ask you as a young doctor? I may not be very young for the general population, but in front of you, I feel that what will be your advice on handling your personal finance and your business finance and your professional finance separately? How do you find this sweet spot?
Well, to be honest with you, every person's desire, ambition, aspiration is different. And same shoe is not going to fit everyone. So it's very important that a person himself should find out that what he wants from his life and what is his personal ability to deal with things.
That's a brilliant thought. Everyone has to find out their personal goals and their personal vital events of life and have their goal setting. And once you have the goal setting, then you can work towards that. And that'll lead us to our financial freedom. And if it is not just freedom from creating assets for your next generation, if you think in terms of nation building and creating larger asset for thousands of people after you, I think that is the state management.
Yes, exactly. So, any advice you want to give to doctors who are very ambitious and they want to really make it very big, follow your footsteps? So, any key things which they should keep in mind? Any particular risk which you want them to sound off?
I want everybody to remember one thing: Rome was not built in a year. Don't try to overdo anything. Then you are unhappy, then you are in trouble. Don't try to overdo anything. See, today, if you see, unfortunately, other than couple of hospital chains, most of the hospital chains are owned by private equities. They have gone out of doctors' hands.
Right.
Yes.
So it's important that You dream to grow, but don't grow as much to give away.
Right.
So how do you? I'm sure there might have been a lot of corporates who must have found merit in your business and wanted to take over and wanted to kind of manage it. How do you try to fend them off, or how do you manage it?
Talk to them nicely, have a cup of tea with them.
But don't give an inch. Oh my God, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Because this is a lesson to learn that sometimes we create something and then we just look at the profitability rather than the potential of its uh, long-term legacy that you're leaving behind and the people who are associated with it. I think that's a very good thought.
So, in this whole journey from seven bedded hospitals to now this whole conglomerate, what role has your family played in your journey, and how you've basically balanced your this baby Shalby with your real babies and the family?
I did not balance anything. Actually, it is my wife, my son, they balanced everything. And I was able to do it because of total cooperation from them to achieve what I have achieved. So they have not asked for anything time wise, money wise, any time so that I have to stop or delay my projects.
So I think that a whole
A robust
family being,
supper,
yeah, the
yeah.
support system, which is very essential to create when you have aspirations to grow.
And I think everybody on the same vision of the growth of the overall well-being. I think that's a message to
Yeah, I
take from
think
here.
that family goals which you have set and the family standing by and supporting while you're really moving towards that journey of scale.
So we want to hear some anecdotes which you must have come across. Everybody knows that you have been treating the VVIPs and then absolute people who are at the top of the world, and you have interacting with some anecdotes of the interaction with great people. I don't want to take names here immediately, or else actually everybody knows that how close you are. And I saw those videos which have gone viral of Shri Amit Shah ji himself coming and doing the opening of this fantastic social project that you have planned out for India, which is going to be a landmark, hopefully, the Bone Bank. So when you have these anecdotes with these people, any interesting anecdotes?
First of all, let me tell you that whenever I am handling VIP or VVIP or operating, I look at knee and not the face. So I don't remember the face at that time. Otherwise, you can't work.
What did you feel when you met Modi ji?
Modi ji visited our hospital 2 to 3 times to see some patients, and we never had great conversation. I went to meet him once to his office, and I will tell you that experience. It was about making a new hospital in Ahmedabad, and I went and visited him when he was a chief minister. I was given 5 o'clock time online, and at 5 o'clock I was in his office,
Oh my good lord!
and I showed him what I wanted to. In a fraction of second, he understood what I wanted and what was, and it was right to do. It was not something extra favor. He called the secretary and told him that look, this is right thing and this requires to be done. See to it that Dr. Vikram Shah doesn't have to come back for same thing again. He's a busy man. And he told me that I will pass GR so that if I don't get elected again, you don't come into trouble. So he's so caring and so lawful. Meeting was over in 10 minutes.
Oh my good lord! That's quick decision making, and I think this is what I hear from your team as well. That when a problem comes to you, you do it and solve it then and there and immediately. It's an amazing thing to learn and grow as a human being. If a young doctor suddenly realizes that I want to be Dr. Vikram Shah, I want to be that person which he is today, and I want to have a large group of hospitals like Shalby, what is the kind of money he'll need?
If today 5,000 crores,
So it's a journey of lifetime, I think, of doing the right things at the right time in the right way to reach this far. And it cannot be replicated by money. It has to be done by passion. It has to be done by sincerity. It has to be done by hard work. It has to be done with ethics in place. It has to be done with the feeling of taking the people along with you. It has to be done with the thought that you're not just doing it for money, but you're doing it for all the people around you, whether it is society and the country at large. It has to be done with thinking of Hamara Desh Mara, Mera Bharat Mahan. Only then can you think of making India. Otherwise, it is not going to happen. Am I right in saying that, sir?
Very true.
So, when you reflect back at this whole journey and say if you were to start all over again, then what is it that you will do differently today versus what you did 20, 30 years back and while building up Shalby?
There is no way I can think that I can do anything differently. Maybe I can deduct some of the fears at some of the time. I could have done it little faster.
Okay, so I guess the way you've basically paced the whole innings, I can say in a way that being very thoughtful about when to take risk, how much to take risk, very thoughtful about a lot of decisions, putting in systems and processes, and not, like you said, racing too much, doing things at the right time. I think, so it was near perfection or excellence. So, like he said, that there's not much which he can change because you can't change what is already brilliant. So, I think very good learning for a lot of doctors listening out here. So, on the closing note, there are a lot of orthopedic doctors who aspire to be like you. So, if you were to summarize those few key attributes, what made you what you are today? What would be that message to all the young doctors who are listening?
Love for your work, enjoy your work, don't look at money, money will follow, and you don't get anything without hard work. You have to work hard.
So, I guess,
I think
yeah,
yeah. It was brilliant. I think all my travel journey is Vasool. So, from this podcast, we have seen how a life well lived and thought about with the direction of what you want to achieve and then working towards that helps us starting from a green field where he started off a hospital, then using the right HR principles to see to it that everyone grows together, looking at what is needed and what is actually the most required passion as well as the need that you want to do for the patients, which generates our desire to do the financial decision making, not taking undue risk but taking calculated planned risk with the right thing in mind, looking at the future direction, creating strategies for it. And at the end of the whole journey, right from a nursing home to a corporate to reaching up to the IPO and then multiple verticals, economies of scale and scope, everything we learn from this journey. So when we look back from this land of Mahatma Gandhi, one of the biggest statement which Mahatma Gandhi had said, my life is my message. I think Vikram Shah sir also means the same thing. His journey of life is the message for the new generations of doctors coming in.
Being a management student, in the last 1 2 hours which I spent with Dr. Vikram Shah, I was sitting through a management class all over again, because what we've taught, that when you have to scale and when you have to make impact for the society at large, the first thing is that you need to be skilled, you need to be best at what you do. So you have to build that competence. Once you've built that competence, then comes the systems and processes. So very rightly, he's used everything from HR principles to marketing. Like, I'll not say marketing, but the brand, doing things so differently, the differentiated strategy which we spoke about. Then finance, it's so vital in the scale up journey. So fixing finance, and at the end of it, creating the whole system where customer is at centric to whatever you do. Then the backward integration, the forward integration, giving skin in the game to people, so that they are all a part of ecosystem and creating this happy family called Shalby. So it was an awe-inspiring journey, and I, as an entrepreneur, learned a lot today. And I'm very sure that doctors, so this his principles is not just restricted to the medical field, but I think every business will have a lot to learn from this whole journey. So thank you so much once again for your valuable time, and it was a lovely time we had learning from you. And I'm very sure a lot of doctors would be inspired by this whole journey. Thank you so much.
And as you rightly said, it's not just one child, but those hundreds of children now who will learn from this, and hopefully from this podcast, lakhs of them. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.